It is not aligned with our values. We are pressurizing for love, purpose, privilege.
Shut up. Exactly like I said. Your partners, your donors, which are, we know who they are. We don't know them in name, but we know what they are about. And in reflecting the values of your principal, like I said, fake life, we make adjustments to our future funding accordingly. Like I said, keep your stupid money. Last time I made a video about Prince Harry and Meghan's shenanigans, and I spoke about how I did not understand why people hated them so much. A lot of people came at me and they were like, "Oh, you don't know this, you don't know that." Suppose said, a bunch of more horrible comments that cannot be repeated in polite company. But anyway, I just want to say that as a prelude to what I'm about to say, because sometimes when people show hatred for people, you wonder why. What has this person ever done to you? What have these people ever done to you? And then at some point, those people exhibit their true character, and you say, "Oh, now I get it. Now I get it." Perhaps people saw in these fellows what I did not previously see, and that was what prompted the hatred. And now I'm beginning to see it, and I'm like, "Oh, maybe those people who hate them so much are onto something." Just put that aside for a moment. Now, you know what they call fake life, right? Fake life is when people put a show on the outside and make things seem different in a way that it's more pleasant, more positive, more applaudable in the eyes of people than what they really are on the inside, right? And I'm just like, look at their website. For those who don't know, Prince Harry and Meghan have a charity foundation called the Ashwell Foundation, where they, perform a lot of charity acts all over the world. And the motto is show up, do good. Show up, do good. I mean, maybe we all have different definitions of doing good and showing up. I don't know, but it would seem that way. Look at their impact. 300 plus women participating in the Welcome Project, whatever that means. 2,000 youth in Nigeria now have access to an adaptive sports court. Now, that's some of their impacts, and that's something they care about. Now, I wonder why you would care about 2,000 youth in Nigeria having access to an adaptive sports court, while, I mean, if you really care about people having access to an adaptive sports court, then you should care even more about people who are dying, who are being killed by some people. If you have that much influence, if you have that much, care for people, and you have that much influence enough to be able to get funds and provide them to people who need them, then you should be able to use your influence and connections you have and the funds you have, whatever, to do something and say something such that it will get to the ears of the people involved, or the people who can get to the people involved, to make them consider stopping, right? But not only are you not doing that, you're just here telling us show up and do good. Well, and you're trying to make it seem as if that's what you're doing, but it's all fake life. All right. So what you're showing on the surface is actually quite different from what is on the inside, what you're actually about. And this is one of those situations where what you're really about, what's really inside, is coming out. As they say, like that's Yoruba for the wind has blown and we have seen the backside. Actually, we've seen the anus of the chicken. The wind has blown and we've seen the anus of the chicken, because feathers hid the anus from us before the wind blew. And in that case, I'm sure you understand exactly what I'm talking about. This is what I always say, that when calamities happen, one of the reasons for those calamities is for us to see the true nature of people around us. When you think of when you've ever had a personal calamity, one of the benefits of those calamities, and we say benefits loosely because we're trying to make a point, is that it makes you see the true nature of the people around. People who claim to be your family members, your friends, people who claim to love you, who are always around you. You see the ones who truly love you, when all of them, if not all of them, most of them just disperse from around you, and you see that you're alone in your troubles, in your calamity, and you're the only one running around to help yourself. And maybe one out of 100 people is the one who is actually around, making calls, running around, being with you, staying with, taking care of you, they helping you out in whatever way they can. Right? That's when you see the true nature of people. That's when you see what they're really about. This is the essence of the wind blowing and letting us, blowing away the feathers so we can see the anus of the chicken. Now, I mean, this is so annoying, especially when I see 100K girls will receive digital wellness programming. You care about digital wellness programming, wellness, right? But you don't care about babies who are starving to death. Babies who are starving to death. You don't care about children getting amputated. Like people maiming children deliberately, because we have information that lets us know that the maiming of children is deliberate and it's targeted towards children. You don't care about that. You don't care about people whose lives you've destroyed, among minus people who you've killed or who have been killed, or people whose lives have been destroyed. Let me not say you. But the arguments could be made that if you see something bad happening and you have the capability of doing something about it and you don't do something about it, keep quiet, you might as well be the one doing that thing. Like, just as bad. Keeping quiet in the face of something bad is just as bad as being the one doing it. Right? You don't care about all of that. You don't care about people whose lives, you don't care about people who are currently starving right now, who are severely malnourished. You don't care about any of that. But oh, you care about 100,000 girls or whoever are receiving digital wellness program, whatever. Am I going after them like this? This says Harry and Meghan's charity cuts ties with Muslim group over pro-Palestine comments, excuse me. Do you hear that? Because the founder of the Muslim group made pro-Palestine comments, their charity, this Archewell charity that belongs to Prince Harry and Meghan, decides to cut ties with the Muslim group. And how do they cut ties with them? By cutting their funding, right? By cutting their funding to punish them, to make them feel the need to either withdraw that statement and never make a statement of that sort ever again, and to feel like, and or to feel as if that money that they're giving to them, that they've been giving to them for like a year or whatever, will actually hurt them so much because they cannot survive with that funding, because they've always depended solely on that funding from the very beginning, from the time their group was founded, their charity group was founded. And so without that stupid funding from this stupid foundation, they won't be able to survive. And maybe they'll go crawling to them on their knees. Maybe that's what they want, because I don't know what else they're trying to gain by cutting their funding. Anyways, it says it cuts funding, and this is what they say. This is what they said to the Muslim group. We have recently been notified of an online opinion piece you wrote that goes against the values of the Archewell Foundation. We have zero tolerance for hateful words, actions, or propaganda. Now, when you say we have zero tolerance for hateful words, actions, or propaganda, that sounds nice, right? That sounds pretty. But then you ask, okay, well, what did Najib say? Najib's apparently the founder of the Muslim group. What did she say? What did she say that is so hateful? Okay. Now, it appears that an article from News Nation prompted the foundation to halt funding. Okay, so a reporter there asked the foundation about Najib's opinion piece in the Wisconsin Muslim Journal, and which is an outlet run by Najib. And the title of the piece was "From the River to the Sea, Palestine will live forever." Okay, and because of that opinion piece, because of the title rather, the foundation decided to halt funding. But they did not really halt funding because of the title and because of the opinion piece. What it seems like to me is that because a reporter went and asked about it, about their opinion about it, they had to pay attention. They had to think about it and say, oh, because people are already asking questions about this, then we have to do something, which of course is to cease funding and to cut ties. And that is basically the hateful speech, hateful words, hateful actions that they said, saying Palestine will be free from the river to the sea, calling for a permanent ceasefire, ending the arming of the apartheid state, and calling for the liberation of Palestine. That's the hateful speech. All these things seem very positive to me. saying that Palestine will be free from the river to the sea, saying that, there should be a permanent ceasefire, an actual ceasefire this time around, calling for the apartheid state to stop being armed, i.e., calling those who are arming them to stop arming them because they are using it for, what they are using it for, and calling for the liberation of Palestine. Everything seems very positive to me. So, what's the hateful speech there? I guess it appears that where you approach life from, the angle from which you approach life, determines the lens through which you see life and through which you see things. So if you approach life from a negative angle, then you will see things from a negative angle all the time, and vice versa. Right now, this article says that the meaning of the phrase "from the river to the sea" is highly contested. Some suggest it means Palestinians should be able to live freely and without Israeli imposed restrictions, which is what many of us mean when we say it, but no, they say we should not say it because many Jewish people consider the slogan anti Semitic, a call for the Palestinian state extending from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. They see it as advocating for the removal of the Jewish state. So, what I do not understand is we are saying, lots of people are saying that Palestinians should be able to live freely and without restrictions imposed on them by another state, which is oppressing them. And these people are saying that no, we should not say that. We should not say that they should be able to live freely because to them it seems it feels as if it is anti-Semitic because they are saying that they want the Jewish state to be removed and it's an advocation for the Jewish state to be removed. Well, I mean, compared when you compare somebody saying something that could be construed as a removal of the of one state to be removed versus when somebody is calling for you to stop oppressing a bunch of people, meaning they are already being oppressed, they are already not free, there are already actions against them that are hindering their very basic human rights. There are actions, literally actions currently going on, killing them, maiming them, imposing just not just restrictions on them, but imposing such horrific conditions on them, and we're saying they should stop. I don't know which one is more pertinent, which one is more urgent, which one is more of an emergency, which one should we pay attention to more? The you thinking that that speech is saying that this should happen in the future, or we saying that this is already happening and we want it to stop? To human beings, not ants, human beings. I don't understand, but somehow everybody seems to be bowing to what they want and saying, oh, because some people feel like it's advocating for this state to be removed, therefore it's a hate speech and nobody should say it. But nobody is caring about the fact that this so-called hate speech is, you know what, let's not even go over it because they know, and the people who are supposed to listen to this won't listen to it anyway. So let's just stop ranting, okay? But what I'm happy about is the response of the founder of that group, where she said, I make no apology for standing up for human rights and speaking out against the humanization of all people, including Palestinians. I'm just clapping for her in my head because I bet they wanted her to apologize to them and to promise to take down, that article, and to promise to never say something like that and to come crawling on her belly because she desperately wants their stupid funding that they collected from the devil anyway and is going to make them burn in hell along with the devil. And she came back, and she came back with power in her speech, and she came with her head held high and said, I do not care and I will make no apology for standing up for human rights, which of course in a backhand way is telling them you don't care about standing up for human rights, even though you're telling us to show up and do good. I guess showing up and doing good in your dictionary does not include standing up for human rights and speaking out against the humanization, and you're involved in supporting the dehumanization of a group of people. You're involved in supporting that because the people you're probably collecting money from are the ones involved in dehumanization of those people, and they want it to be so, and you do not want to have anything to do with anyone who is not going to support that dehumanization, so you can keep collecting money. Like I said, you sold your souls to the devil. You sold your souls to the devil for money, and you have no honor, and you're living fake lives. Now, somebody can come and say, oh, why am I going at? I'm not going at any specific people. I know I started by talking about Prince Harry and Meghan. I'm not going at them specifically, but I'm kind of sort of going at them in a way because they're the they're the founders of the charity, and you cannot tell me that they will have the time to go around the world posing for pictures and posing with um you know f- sports courts that they've created in some parts of the world, and posing with children and showing that they care about children for their foundation, without caring about what is actually going on behind the scenes with their foundation, without caring about huge events like them deciding to fund a project or deciding to cut funding for a project over something like this. You cannot tell me they're not involved, and you cannot tell me that whoever they are, the executive decision makers, will not contact them first of all before making that decision and carrying it out. Even if they were not the ones who decided to make that decision at first, you're telling me, you cannot tell me that they would make that decision without seeking their approval, and that this went on without their approval. You can't tell me that. You cannot tell me that. There are some people who have foundations like this, who have charity organizations like this, but aren't really hands on. But then they're not also the ones who be going around. Most times, they're not really the ones who be going around posing for pictures and doing this and doing that, traveling all over the world, and just being involved generally. So I mean, I don't care how involved or uninvolved they are in this whole charity organization and in this particular saga, but they are involved in some way. And your foundation, your charity organization reflects your values, and it reflects what you are about. Basically, it's a reflection of you on the inside. So what they do reflect on you, positively or negatively. So yeah, I'm not really saying that they were the ones who decided to cut funding, or they were the ones who decided to be cowardly, or they were the ones who decided to um, sell their souls or whatever. But I'm saying they're involved, which means, some of that excrement is splashing on them for sure. But again, I don't want it to seem as if they're the ones I'm talking to. They're not really the ones. I'm talking to the people who decided to do in the foundation. And if they're involved, too bad. If they're not involved, that's just as well. Like I said, I love that she spoke with power. I love that she did not come crawling on her belly the way they wanted. And then they said that Najib said she viewed the funding cut as part of a broader trend of organizations distancing themselves from pro-Palestinian views for fear of retribution. Obviously, that has been going on for quite a bit. She said she's also heard the anti-Palestinian activists have asked boards she serves on in Milwaukee to remove her. Of course, they don't stop at just the preliminaries. They go on and try to destroy a person for even daring to have pro-Palestinian views. God help us all. And she said it's unfortunate that a funder like the Archwell decided to cave in so quickly. Like I said, they caved in. Like I said, they caved because they did not really care about our opinion piece. They did not really care about it. It was only when that reporter asked them about it that they realized, oh, people's attention's already been drawn to this. We have to do something, and we have to make it seem as if we're on the side of the people who are giving us money, because that's really what we're about. Okay. And we need to punish this woman by we need to make this woman know that what she said is unacceptable, based on the fact that she wants to keep collecting money from us, because what she said is not going to make the people who are bringing the money in happy. And we need those people to keep bringing money in so we can keep giving her money for her charity. She said it's unfortunate that they decided to cave in so quickly. This is not unusual. It is not. We know that it's not unusual. It has been happening for quite some time, and this is in line with what is happening around the country. Okay, um, it's very interesting. Kai. She said, if your foundation stipulates that grant recipients must idly sit by as a genocide is broadcast live on their television screens, then we too regret to inform you that our values do not align. In choosing PR over principle, you betray the communities you claim to uplift. Thank you. Can we just give a moment of silence for clapping for her? Clapping for her. Okay. Thank you so much thank you so much. Like, anyone who knows her should just give her a hug for me. Okay. Should just give her a hug for me. Like, I hate it when people behave like idiots, but I also hate it when people that they are behaving like idiots to cave in and go crawling on their belly and go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I love it when people behave like idiots, and the people they're trying to go at come back and tell them, who do you think you're talking to? We don't care. We don't care. You can take your stupid money. You take your stupid money and go and F yourselves. And we don't really care. And we will stick with our values. And obviously you don't have values, so our values do not align. And even if you did not try to cut funding because of this, we would not want to collect money from you anyway, because our values do not align. So take your money and shove it where the sun don't shine. It's so true. Everything she said is so true. I like when people are so clear headed and so eyes wide open, right? You are choosing PR over principle. It's all about PR. It's not even as if you care about the fact that they are pro Palestinian. You don't care. You never cared until somebody pointed it out to you. You chose PR. Like it's so obvious and it's so fake of them. And yeah, I just love the way this man gave it back to them. I just, and you're saying that because we're receiving money from you, we must keep quiet when a genocide is broadcast live. We shouldn't have our humanity because you've decided to shove your humanity where the sun don't shine. Then you can take your money and shove it in that, corner as well. It's as simple as that. I just love, like, this is just making me glad. Now, this is a very annoying thing. The so-called executive directors decided to, release a statement. At the Archwell Foundation, we show up, we do good. You show up, you do good. Okay, all right. Our values are an extension of those of our founders, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. You see what I was saying? Wait, first of all, can we still call them the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? I don't know. I don't know if we can still call them that. But anyway, that's what is written here. That's what I'm going to say. People call for me. The last time I mentioned, I was like Prince and Princess. People were like, don't you dare call them Prince and Princess. They are not. First of all, somebody was like, well, he may be a prince, but she's not a princess. Marrying a prince doesn't make you a princess. I was like, all right. I mean, in my village, if you marry a prince, you're a princess. If you marry a king or a queen, but okay, all right, I won't say princess. And here they're like Duke and Duchess of Sussex, whatever. Um, but this is my point. My point is your values are reflected in the organization, the charity organization, whatever else you create. So don't come and tell me that, oh, it's the decision of some people, not the decision of the founders. No, they said it themselves. Our values reflect the values of our founders. Okay, that's why I'm saying this is all fake life. It's fake life because you're trying to project something to the world, like you care, like you do good, you this, you that, you show up, but you're not showing up for a bunch of people who clearly desperately need it. Like I'm pretty sure that those girls and those youth in Nigeria or wherever else who are getting an adaptive sports complex or court, or who are pretty sure that they would choose not to have those wellness programs and those complexes if they saw, like, if they understood that you were paying attention to those people who are actually starving to death and dying and getting maimed. I'm pretty sure they would understand. Pretty sure. Okay, because not everybody has lost their humanity like some people, especially people who are in need. When people are in need, when people have been in need for a long time, they generally usually have more humanity than a bunch of people who have just lived a life of means. So they said our funding and grant support extends to individuals and organizations of all walks of life with varying political views, cultural beliefs, ideologies, and identifications. We do not discriminate. Are you sure you do not discriminate? Are you, because what you just did reeks of discrimination? So are you sure? They said we believe change comes from building bridges, but you just broke a bridge. You basically just destroyed that bridge by cutting off funding, like you're cutting off ties. That sounds to me like you're breaking bridges, not building them. We welcome all, but you just kick them out. Okay, so what exactly are you doing? Your words are not aligning with your actions. Your actions are so loud that we cannot hear your words. We cannot read your words. We do not, however, tolerate any form of hate speech, including hate-fueled symbols, language, or imagery. Really, no matter the community it targets. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because it seems to me like you're refusing to tolerate it depending on the community it targets. And what you call hate fueled speech is all subjective. Okay? It's subject to you, it's hate speech. Actually, not to you, but to the people who are directing you, the way a puppet master directs his puppets. But anyway, let's move on. For us, association with the blending of the Star of David with the swastika is impossible to accept. Okay. But you're saying no matter the community it targets. Let's not even go. That's not even worth going into. But this is the part I want to pay attention to. Additionally, language that calls for the destruction of others, whether explicitly or implicitly, crosses the line. So because they said from the river to the sea, they are calling for the destruction of others. But the people who are actually destroying others, nothing, right? Nothing. Okay.
It is not aligned with our values. We are pro-humanity, pro-love, pro-peace, pro-equality.
Shut up. You are pro-peace, pro-humanity. People are dying, and you are saying somebody should not speak up for them in a language that is, good Lord. Shut up. Just shut up. Sorry, guys. Sometimes when I get really frustrated, my Nigerianness comes out. Sorry. Now, they said, out of respect for all our partners, a responsibility to our donors. Hey, you're just saying the truth. Your partners, your donors, and in reflecting the values of our principles. Exactly like I said. Your partners, your donors, which are, we know who they are. We don't know them in name, but we know what they are about. And in reflecting the values of our principle, like I said, fake life, we make adjustments to our future funding accordingly. Like I said, keep your stupid money. We remain deeply committed to work with Muslim-led organizations. No, you don't. You don't, because if those other Muslim-led organizations say pro-Palestinian, words or phrases or sentences that you do not agree with, you're going to cut off funding from them as well, because you don't really have principles, you don't have values, and well, we know what your values are. Actually, you do have values, and they have to do with money. They have to do with cowardice, because that's basically cowardice. You don't even care, like it's cowardice. We remain deeply committed to our work with blah 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 and refugee support programs through the Welcome Project and relief. Shut up! There's no relief efforts in Gaza because the relief efforts are being blocked by your friends. So shut up, okay? Shut up and stop saying rubbish. Stop talking in the nonsense. Stop talking in the thing that does not have sense. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop here. Forgive my rant in this video, guys. I imagine anybody will still be watching by now or still listening. But if you are in fact still listening or watching, I say thank you to you. And you can join me in my rant. I think it's allowed once in a while, even though I think I rant more often than not, more often than might be accepted or allowed. But anyway, thank you so much. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you've not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. It would be nice if you could do that. It'd be nice. And I will see you next time. Ciao.